So you've got some gorgeous BetterPress plates, or maybe you've been eyeing them. But here's the problem. You don't have the BetterPress system. You might be thinking, well, that's it, they're useless to me. Not so fast. Today, I'm going to show you 4 super creative, budget-friendly ways to get stunning results from those plates using tools you probably already have in your craft space. We're talking beautiful embossed textures, letterpress style printing, and wait until you see technique number 3. Incredible results, and all without spending a dime on extra equipment. And the best part, these hacks work whether you're brand new to BetterPress plates or you've been collecting them for a while but never quite knew how else to use them. Let's dive in. I'll be using a non-Spellbinders machine, so these techniques are system agnostic. A quick note on my machine, I'm using a new die cutting machine by Vevor and I'm loving it so far. It has a 9-inch wide opening, so I'm really excited about trying bigger projects in this machine. And the first thing I noted was that it came with this giant embossing folder. I'll be using it in a future video, so stay tuned. As for the cutting mechanism, it came with 3 plates, a thin adapter plate and 2 cutting plates, and I just marked A and C with a Sharpie so I don't get them confused. I've already accidentally cut into the second plate, so I'll flip it over and use the other side so I don't get cut marks on my cardstock. The machine came with a white platform, and to build the sandwich, I need to use the white base with plates A and C on top of the base platform, which I'll talk about in just a bit. But I also wanted to show you that the machine included some dies and a package of about 80-pound colored cardstock. I'll use only a couple of BetterPress plates so I can demonstrate how you can stretch those plates to get different looks with different techniques without needing the actual BetterPress platform. Here's something to keep in mind when using your press plates. The type of paper matters a lot. If you use thin cardstock like the standard 80-pound, you likely won't get much of a letterpress effect, even with the BetterPress system. That's why heavier, more textured paper makes a huge difference, so let me show you a few examples. I do have some of the official Spellbinders BetterPress card panels, which are basically cotton, but honestly, I find them a little expensive given the exchange rate and shipping costs since I'm in Canada. So most of the time, I just use regular cold press watercolor paper or mixed media paper, and it works beautifully. Here's the Spellbinders cotton panel. It's bright white, smooth, and lovely. And here's the watercolor paper I usually use. You can see it's a bit warmer in tone, but the texture, it is quite similar on one side. The other side is more textured. This sheet here was from a sketch pad. Please ignore my doodles, but it's perfect for dry embossing or inking with BetterPress plates. You can also use mixed media paper like I mentioned, but unfortunately I've run out of mine, so I can't show you a sample. They essentially look the same, except the mixed media paper is slightly lighter weight than the watercolor paper. I've used Nina Solar Crest for most of my demos today, but I'll be using this watercolor paper for one of the demos so you can see that you don't need anything fancy to get beautiful results. All right, now that we've got our machine and paper ready, let's jump into the first BetterPress hack, and I promise you're going to love how easy these are. Let's get started with our first hack. For this one, we'll use the press plate to create a letterpress effect because that's what it's primarily for, right? It won't be perfect since we aren't using the system, but it will be very close. For this, I'd highly recommend using a magnetic mat to help with placement and pressure. This process is a little fiddly, but quite achievable with a bit of patience. I'm using the scrapbook.com magnetic mat, which is a great investment if you have a collection of press plates. But if you don't have a magnetic mat, but you do have a magnetic sheet of some sort, that will work too. But you'll need to be even more careful. You can see I already tried the letterpress method with the sheet, which is basically a fridge magnet that came in the mail. The marks you're seeing are for cardstock placement, but I'll show you something similar on the magnetic mat so you know how to reproduce it on a magnetic sheet. I'll use the grid on the magnetic mat to help me align the press plates and the cardstock. Here I'm using washi tape to mark the placement for perfect alignment since I don't want to mark up my mat with a Sharpie. I'll position the press plates within the boundaries I've created with the washi tape. Once I have the press plates positioned the way I like them, I'll create a hinge for my card panel using washi tape. You can use painter's tape too. Basically, any tape works as long as it's low tack. The tape will basically ensure the paper stays in the exact same position for a clean impression. For the sandwich, I'll only need the white platform and one cutting plate since I'm using the magnetic mat. Now, I'll flip the card panel back and carefully ink up the press plate with VersaFine Onyx Black. I'll also show you the BetterPress ink in a bit. Now, I'll flip the hinged panel back over the inked plate, being careful not to move it, and then carefully transfer it to the die cutting machine. I'll add the cutting plate on top, all the while being really careful to not drag the plate over the panel so the ink doesn't smear on the cardstock. The magnetic mat will prevent shifting of the press plates, so you'll only need to be careful with the cutting plate on top and keep everything aligned. Time to reveal the results. Look how beautifully this turned out. The impression is perfect, but the letterpress effect is barely visible. So let me show you how to remedy that. Before I move on to the next bit, here's a tip for removing press plates from a magnetic mat without breaking your nails. Use a magnet to lift them off. All right, I'll use another panel and a more detailed press plate for the next iteration, for which I'll add the fridge magnet I showed you earlier as a shim to get a more defined letterpress effect. I'm using the BetterPress ink this time. This smaller ink pad is a little bit easier to handle and prevents the ink from getting on the mat. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but this time I feel the indentation and the impression is stunning. I can see all the fine details in the design as well. So you can still reproduce the letterpress effect without the BetterPress system. But of course, having the system would make it more convenient and wouldn't require jumping through multiple hoops. You may have seen the next hack already, but I'd be remiss not to show it to you. Our next technique is dry embossing with the same floral press plate. A crucial tip for this, again, is to use heavier weight paper, as a standard weight cardstock won't give you a strong embossed effect. I'm using Nina's Solar Crest for this, which I find works perfectly. You could also use watercolor or mixed media paper. Here's how I'll create the sandwich for this technique, but please check your user manual for embossing with a die for your specific machine. This Vevor machine didn't come with a rubber mat, so I'll use my Spellbinders one instead. You will need a rubber embossing mat for this, because without that, your press plate will cut through the cardstock and basically act like a die. Give your rubber mat a good wipe down first to make sure you don't have any dust or fibers on it, as they'll get pressed into your design. The sandwich for my machine is the white platform, a cutting plate, the rubber mat, the cardstock I want to emboss, the press plate facing the cardstock, and the second cutting plate on top. Run this through your machine. If the sandwich feels too tight, adjust it to avoid breaking it. After the first pass, you'll have a beautiful embossed impression with great detail. But let me show you a great tip to get even more detail out of your embossing. Just like you would with an embossing folder, spritz your cardstock with a little water before running it through the machine. This makes the paper more pliable and allows the press plate to create a deeper, more detailed impression. Look at that. The details are so much clearer, especially on the butterfly wings and the veins of the leaves in comparison to the earlier one. Of course, we ran the earlier design through the die cutting machine, but it didn't have as much depth and detail to begin with. I should have cut out the panel before I ran this a second time so I could show you the comparison, but silly me, I forgot. I know it's a little hard to see the details on white cardstock on camera, so let me just give it a light ink blend so you can see the details better. One thing to remember is that if your press plate comes with coordinating dies, you should use them to cut out the shape first before you emboss the design, since it will flatten out when you run it through the die cutting machine a second time, like I just did. The next hack puts a different twist on the stamping technique you just watched in the first segment. It's great for creating visual texture and, of course, stretch out those supplies. Keep watching. We are going to use a gel plate to create a stunning distressed look, and I like to call this distress stamping. If you don't have a gel plate, a silicone or rubber mat will work as well, but a gel plate is much better because it's cushiony, which helps create a more distinct impression. I'm using a couple of brayers and some distress oxide inks in milled lavender and dusty concord. I'm inking up the gel plate first so I can create a colored background on which to do the stamping, but of course you don't have to. I'm using a panel of watercolor paper for this background, but you'll soon see me make a mistake and use the more textured side to lift off the ink from the gel plate. The textured side didn't work very well, so now I'll flip the panel and apply the ink again to the smoother side. Now for the magic. Take your press plate and ink it up with a darker Distress Oxide ink or the same color to get a tone-on-tone effect, just like you would a stamp. I like to use my neodymium magnets as handles while I ink up the press plate. So convenient. These are basically the magnets I use on my magnetic glass mat, and they are really strong. Lift the press plate to reveal a beautifully distressed border. You can get some really unique results with this technique. Using a gel plate for stamping with your press plates is a great way to stretch your supplies and creates a different effect without the BetterPress system. It's stamping, but it creates a unique look, and each time you get a different look. That's how it's unique. The next hack went quite wrong at the end, but I kept it in so you can see the process in case you aren't familiar with how to foil with BetterPress plates, which is a fairly common way to use it besides letterpressing. I finally managed to get a second camera set up near my hot foiling area. While the foil press heats up, I'll go ahead and get the preps underway. I'm using this beautiful turquoise holographic foil called Moon Dust from Spellbinders, and a piece of smooth Neenah Solar Crest cardstock cut to 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. Hot foiling works best on super smooth cardstock. I'm using the Spellbinders quick trimmer, which is great at cutting foil as well as paper. It comes with 2 blades, one for foil and the other one for paper, and of course I'm using the foil blade for this one. Now, I'll prepare the layers by placing the foil over the cardstock, pretty side of the foil to the pretty side of the press plate, and then I'll tape it down with painter's tape so it doesn't shift. The machine has beeped, which means it's ready. So I'll place my hot foil sandwich with the press plate down on the heating plate of the Gemini foil press machine. I'm setting a timer for a minute and the heat level is set at 2. Once the timer is done, I'll place my top plate on the heating platform and run it through my Gemini Junior die cutting machine with a couple of cardboard shims to ensure there's sufficient pressure to transfer the foil. Unfortunately, as you can see, this didn't work. So off camera, I tried again thinking it was user error, but after a couple of tries, I realized that my press plate has warped over time and isn't making full contact with the heating platform of the machine, which is possibly why the foil transferred unevenly, which means I have to now get another platform. While the attempt was a fail, you can still see the stunning potential of this technique when it works properly. That's it for our hacks today. I hope you learned a few new ways to use your press plates and stretch your crafting supplies. Let me know in the comments below which hack was your favorite. And if you have any questions about the Vevor cutting machine, please let me know in the comments and maybe I can answer them for you. If you like learning hacks to make your crafting process more fun and efficient at the same time, I recently created a video with 14 hacks that will really step up your crafting game. You can watch that video here.